Last month, Amazon jumped in the pharmacy business, selling prescription drugs with free delivery, accepting most insurance, and offering discounts for those who choose to pay without insurance. The news sent shockwaves through the industry and the stock market. Traditional in-store pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, they all had their stock price drop that day, some as much as 15%. Those stocks have all since recovered, but one stock is still down, about 20% since Amazon Pharmacy was announced. That stock, GoodRx, the app that tracks prescription drug prices and gives discount codes so you can get discounts at pharmacies. The GoodRx CEO says they are happy that Amazon is in this space. They're not a competitor because GoodRx isn't a pharmacy. Today on Dumb Money, is GoodRx a bad investment? Will Amazon be the ultimate pharmacy winner? Or is there a better stock trade? We are talking to our go-to medtech expert and friend, Dr. Chase Feiger, about his big trade in the future of pharmacies. This is Dumb Money Live with Chris Camillo, Dave Hansen, and Jordan McLean, streaming live on YouTube. We are Dumb Money. Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to the show. So guys, Amazon isn't exactly new to the pharmacy business. They bought a company called PillPack back in 2018. The co-founder and CEO of that company is now Amazon's VP of Pharmacy. PillPack, mail order pharmacy that packages all your meds into these little packs that you can just open one every day or multiple times a day or whatever your prescriptions are for. And they'll put vitamins in there, whatever you want. But this is the first time that Amazon is selling prescription drugs under the Amazon Pharmacy brand name with free shipping and discounts as a part of the Prime program. So let's go ahead and bring Dr. Chase into this conversation here. Boom, there he is.
What's up, Chase?
How's it going, buddy?
What's happening, guys?
Dude, Chase, don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. 'Cause I need to set the stage. I need to set the social arb stage for GoodRx because I've been thinking about this going into today. And what I love today's episode before we even start, I'll tell you why. Normally, when you're looking for a social arb trade, you really have to look deep for that one piece of information that the market is missing or the market is misinterpreting, right? And that's the piece of information you're trading. But with GoodRx, I truly believe after reading all the analysts and all the coverage and all the buzz, especially with this latest move by Amazon, that it's like no one can agree on what the future of this company even looks like. There are so many opinions. Either Amazon's going to topple them, Amazon's irrelevant, GoodRx is just a fad, GoodRx is susceptible to government regulation that's going to come in and screw the middlemen and the pharmacy business is going to screw them. Like, there are so many things at play that I truly feel that there's an opportunity to look at GoodRx almost like you would an early stage company, like a venture investor would. And if you could just fully understand, have a better understanding of the company itself, what the barriers of entry really are, what the TAM really is, what the risk factors are and aren't, that just by doing just by understanding the company, you might have edge, right? Because I think people just misunderstand this company. I'm so excited to have you on, Chase, because honestly, with all of my research into GoodRx, I don't understand. I still don't really have a hold on what's true and what's not true, what to believe, what not to believe. I just don't know. So I don't own any GoodRx right now, but I'm going to make a decision by the end of this episode, purely based on, because that's how much trust I have in you. Listen, you spent most of your career as an early stage investor. You've made dozens, maybe 100 early stage investments in the tech space and the med space specifically. So like, if anyone can understand this landscape, really understand behind the curtain, it's you, right? And so
And I've used GoodRx, and I'm a huge Amazon fan. But before we get into his big trade, a little more preamble, I do want to talk a little about the business side of how pharmacies work. Because to me, the crazy range of prices for drugs has always been fascinating. And I want to know from someone on the inside what's going on there.
Yeah. So first and foremost, Chris, once again, the pressure is on, man. The pressure is on. He always has to do that to me. Whether it's an early stage investment, whether it's a public equity trade, I swear to you, the pressure is always on, and that's how I like it. So thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Like Dave said, really to kind of set the landscape, I think it would actually be beneficial to really understand who the key stakeholders are across the entire pharmacy value chain. So guys, on Dumb Money Show, I know that you've probably, it's been a while since that, maybe that college lecture. Maybe some of you are in college right now listening to this. Great. Well, I'm sorry for just another rant on the subject, but I really
we all love a good slideshow though. So
we all like a good slideshow. I'm going to go through this quickly, guys. So first and foremost, who are the key stakeholders that are involved in the pharmacy value chain? You have the manufacturers, i.e. the pharmaceutical manufacturers. These are companies like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, AbbVie. These are the companies that research, that develop, that produce drugs, and are obviously an essential component of the value chain. You then have the payers. These are entities that are that are other than patients that are actually paying for care. And if we think about the big five insurance players in the space, these are companies like United Health Group, Anthem, Aetna, Cigna, Humana. These are really the big five payers in the space. Then you have what are called PBMs, or pharmacy benefit managers. These are the entities that negotiate drug prices directly with the manufacturers on behalf of their payer clients. So what their job is they're really this negotiating entity. They're one of the middlemen that really sit intermediated within the healthcare value chain. You then have what are called wholesalers. These are the companies like AmerisourceBergen, McKesson, Cardinal Health. These are companies that buy large quantities of drugs from pharma companies. They distribute them. And again, if you actually think about the way the market looks, the big three actually own approximately a little more than 85% market share. So McKesson, AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, they pretty much have complete dominance over this wholesaler space. And then you have, of course, the pharmacies. These are the companies like CVS, like Walgreens, Walmart. These are the ones where patients will actually go to collect their prescriptions. And then just to fast forward on the last two, specialty pharmacies, which are distributing very much more expensive, uncommon products, and then, of course, the patient. Now, if we go through the next slide, I try to put this together pretty quickly. We really just show the way that the flow of drugs works through the pharmaceutical value chain. You've got the manufacturer, the wholesalers are responsible for distributing, i.e. McKesson. These are companies that are going to have play a very, very big part when you think about the coronavirus vaccine. So, again, even if you're not interested in this trade and you just want an additional educational lesson on what's to come, given this really crazy time and unprecedented time that we're in, then of course you'll find this intellectually stimulating. But this chart here just shows the way the flow of drugs work. This next chart shows the actual services offered throughout the value chain. So again, you have the PBM that's interacting both with the payer and the manufacturer prior to when the payer will determine ultimately that cost that the patient has to pay out of pocket. And the last one, very complicated chart. The reason I put this together for you guys was I wanted you to see the complexity involved in how the flow of money works across the entire, how it works within this segment. But again, I'm happy. We only have limited time on this episode, so I'm not going to go on and on about this.
Take us through it. I want to know what's important here in this slide. I want to know.
Yeah, so the key takeaway here is that there's a ton of inefficiencies within the pharmaceutical value chain. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. When you compare the U.S. pharmaceutical value chain to that of other players internationally, we have all these intermediaries within the space that are trying to take a dominant role. Now, the PBM is someone I really want you to focus on as it pertains to GoodRx, because that's how GoodRx is making a huge chunk of their revenue. In fact, a majority of their revenue. Every time you use that coupon code, there is a flow of money moving between the PBM and GoodRx. GoodRx has set up these partnerships incredibly extensively with the PBM. The way to think of GoodRx is think of GoodRx as like a really nice front end. that is partnering up with tons of these different PBMs. But it's also crazy that we even have PBMs. But that's a conversation for another day. Now, if we go to the last slide, Dave, I'm sorry to make you do one more here. Is it up?
Yep, it's up.
Ah, perfect. So the key thing here is that you have players that are vertically integrating themselves across different areas of the pharmaceutical value chain, i.e. we have companies like CVS Health that acquired Aetna, i.e. CVS has now become a payer. CVS CVS Health owns CVS Caremark, which is a PBM. They own pharmacies, which we interact with every day. They own specialty pharmacies. So CVS is an entity that has really vertically integrated itself across the pharmaceutical value chain. You then have companies like United Healthcare. United, we know that one of the big famous acquisitions that happened in the last few years was when United Health Group acquired Optum, which is one of the big dominant PBMs in the space as well. Key takeaway here, and guys, spend time looking at the chart more and more before I get into the details around how I'm thinking about how these different players interact with one another and what this Amazon pharmacy entrance into the space really means to each of these players. Feel free to take some time looking at it. If you guys have any questions, as always, ping the Dumb Money guys, and then I'm always happy to get on and spend time jamming with you guys individually if you ever want to talk about how this all works more extensively.
And we'll post this presentation in our Dumb Money Discord group too, because people are appreciating it already in the chat.
Perfect.
Yeah, and
all right, great, guys.
This is the setup. So you're going to explain to us, right, Chase, how GoodRx how this all impacts GoodRx and also Amazon, right? Which is important to understand the background story here.
For sure. So, yeah, and it's really good to have an understanding of, this is a complicated market. So it's good to have that understanding of, who are the important players in the space and what does this mean for each of them, right? So before I get into GoodRx and Amazon, I just want to bring up really the why now opportunity in terms of why now for GoodRx. Obviously, this is a company that was founded more than 10 years ago out of Los Angeles. When we think about the underlying premise of the company, this is a company, Doug Hirsch, this is the CEO that truly has a desire to do a tremendous amount of good for the market. This is an individual that's obviously working on building a dominant business, very, very smart, very successful, comes from the tech world, just like each of us. And he really does have a desire to do a tremendous amount of good. Former executive from Facebook. His goal when he started GoodRx was, what can I do to help lower drug costs? Right? I mean, yeah. This is a conversation that dominates DC, right? This is a conversation that is incredibly important. I mean, there's so many Americans out there. There's over 40 million Americans that are uninsured. You're talking about a group of individuals that cannot afford to buy the medications that they need for their own health and well-being. Right?
Chase,
and I've actually
basically cut out the insurance, right? Is that true?
So what GoodRx has done is, so in part, Jordan, the way that it works is that GoodRx provides cash pay prices directly to consumers. So, you're a patient, you go and see your physician, you walk into your physician's office, and and give me, comment on the bottom, by the way, if this has ever happened to you. But you go and you see your doctor, and your doctor says, unfortunately, I don't think your insurance is willing to cover this drug for you. Or your doctor says, I'm gonna have to put together a prior authorization, which is this very complicated back and forth process that occurs between medical assistants, the doctor, and then of course the these other entities that I previously described, and they're all going back and forth trying to complete this prior authorization so that you actually get coverage on that specific medication, and you can pay the price of whatever your copay is in order to get access to that drug. Very
and I can tell you,
complicated
I've actually used GoodRx when I had cheap insurance that didn't cover all of my prescriptions. It was amazing. I couldn't believe, I thought it was a scam. It's like, how am I going to download this app and show a code? Why would a drugstore give me a special price if I just show them this code? And this, you know, super easy, because I was like, I just type it in and it told me this drugstore has it at this price. If you show this code, this other one across the street is like half the price of that if you just walk across the street. So it was kind of amazing that that exists, and I think it's a fantastic like idea and concept, and amazing for people, especially if you're underinsured like I was or uninsured. And the whole premise of making healthcare more affordable for people is amazing. I just never understood kind of how it was working. Who was getting paid to give these discounts?
Yeah, so the PBMs actually provide GoodRx. So, you know, it depends on whether the drug is a branded drug or a generic drug, but they can make a few dollars every time you go in and you get that coupon off the GoodRx website, and you take it into a CVS, a Walgreens, a Costco, really the pharmacy, again, of your choice. GoodRx is making money on each of those scripts. So that's how the model works. And they were able to do this by partnering up with the PBMs. So again, what is GoodRx? You know, before we get into, you know, GoodRx, Amazon, Doug Hirsch was right in his response. There is a major difference between GoodRx and Amazon. GoodRx is a marketplace. Amazon is a mail order pharmacy, i.e., you can go to your local pharmacies, i.e. your CVS, your Walgreens, to go and pick up your medications, or you can have your doctor send the medication to Amazon Pharmacy, and via the use of Prime services, have that medication delivered to your door without having to walk in, take the time to drive to the pharmacy, wait in line, etc. Does that make sense? So
yep.
Yes.
What GoodRx does is GoodRx enables you on a per script basis. Let's say you need your cholesterol, high cholesterol medication. You type in whatever that statin is on the GoodRx website, and it lists all of the prices based on your zip code at each of the pharmacies. So it's a marketplace, if that makes sense. It's a marketplace. So that's the big difference.
That makes total sense. And isn't the value that GoodRx provides to the manufacturers of these drugs that with GoodRx, people will actually purchase prescriptions that they would ordinarily otherwise just leave at the counter because their healthcare doesn't cover it, or it's too expensive. So they're actually increasing the amount of drugs being purchased, with both benefits the manufacturer, benefits the pharmacy, benefits the doctor, and theoretically benefits the patient. So they're theoretically, it's like a quad win for everybody involved, and they still get to make money from it. So it's kind of a fascinating value prop that they're able to benefit everybody and still make money just by solving a weird problem, because the system is so complex and insurers are not incentivized to want to cover too much stuff. It's very, Chase, this is unusual. It's really hard to unpack all this.
No, it's a win. It's even a win for payers, right? Because then payers don't have to cover it. So there's less utilization of the payer services when a patient walks in and uses a GoodRx coupon to get that drug. But yeah, you're 100% right, Chris. I mean, and I'll get into how other ways GoodRx is making money, because it's really interesting. They were started at a time where they were really able to dominate a number of distribution channels, which I'll get into in just a bit. But that's the key takeaway from today is, remember, GoodRx is a marketplace. Amazon, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, these are pharmacies. And then I also showed you previously at that intro how CVS, Walgreens, et cetera, are vertically integrated across different areas of the value chain. So, but the thing that you need to remember is that when someone goes to GoodRx to get that coupon, there is a chance that they're going to select a pharmacy that is not Amazon, right? So if GoodRx does a very good job capturing your attention on paid search, paid social ad, i.e. through Google, when you're Googling atorvastatin and you see, oh, GoodRx at the very top of the screen, and they capture you before Amazon captures your attention, or you're on Facebook, you hear a radio ad. When you go to GoodRx, there is a chance Amazon is not going to acquire you as a customer through Amazon Pharmacy. But then when someone goes to Amazon, i.e., think about how dominant Amazon has been over the last couple of years with the different positions that they made, starting Haven, Amazon Care. This is a company that we know is going very hard after healthcare. They have done an incredible job in terms of capturing a very enormous audience across all age groups and ranges. When someone goes to Amazon, GoodRx is not going to make money from the coupon.
Because Amazon's providing their own discount, because they are basically stepping into that role where GoodRx sits, and they are that middleman negotiator who's getting the better pricing because of their volume and all of that. Which, to me, the whole Amazon pharmacy sounds kind of ideal because of free delivery. I'm already shopping on Amazon. It's just one more thing to put in my cart. I was surprised that you don't actually go to a special website. You just search for the drug, right? The same way I would buy new coffee mugs or coffee refills.
Okay. But Dave, some people are a couple things going on here. Some people want to get their medication right this second. Some people aren't comfortable getting any medication mailed to their house because they don't want to get lost or stolen or anything like that. Also, some people just aren't, believe it or not, aren't connected to Amazon. They're not on Amazon Prime. Yeah. They're anti-Amazon, or they're just not in that world yet. It might be 20 years before they get into that world, right?
I don't see Amazon Pharmacy as like the lead getter to get new people into Amazon to start using them to buy absolutely everything in their life. But for the people who already use Amazon, like me, to buy everything in my life, having to go to a drugstore for that one prescription doesn't make as much sense. And if they are willing, have the ability to give me, they said 80% off of the, up to 80% off of generics and 40% off of name brand drugs. To me, it's almost like the GoodRx model is great because it lets me get a discount and I can figure out which pharmacy has the best price. But if Amazon has as good or better pricing, that's where I think GoodRx could get into trouble.
And that's the key thing. Right? That is exactly the key thing. And the question is it a race to the bottom? Is it a race to the bottom? Ultimately, at the end of the day, though, this is a race to the bottom that benefits the patient. And to me, that is the most important piece of it all. As a physician, I have to first and foremost look out for the patient. Drug costs have been out of control. And if it means that Amazon and GoodRx and these PBMs, all the other entities that we previously discussed are going to constantly it's going to be slashing at their margins for the benefit of the patient, for the benefit of you and I, and we should all be celebrating that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, this is the thing. I want to go back to Chris's point because that's really important, right? Chris mentioned the big question for today. What is the social ARB opportunity here? What is GoodRx? So let's just think about what GoodRx has done a very, very good job of. The customer base. How is GoodRx acquiring customers? Well, I talked about how they were able to dominate online channels. They were able to dominate they were able to dominate paid search. They were able to dominate paid social channels, SEO, radio, etc.
Do not I think the most effective way to learn about GoodRx is your local neighborhood pharmacist having a little sign on the thing saying, by the way, if you just go on your phone, we can probably get you a better price. If you just take this card, you can get a better price.
You've got TV commercials like crazy. I feel like I see a GoodRx ad every 30 minutes.
Yep. They're dropping. Jordan, you're 100% right. I mean, they're spending tons of money on advertising. Now, what
they're
did
paying
GoodRx
a ton of money to acquire a customer, like a ton of money.
Oh yeah, they're paying a ton of money, but they've dominated these channels. And then what they've done is, as they've seen customer acquisition costs increase, especially during COVID times, as the channels have become more and more expensive to advertise on, they found that, there's a subset of patients, by the way, that go to GoodRx and they're like, well, I haven't gotten my doctor visit yet. I really need to go see a doctor. Or maybe it's one of these patients that's uninsured. They don't have they don't have a primary care provider that takes care of them. They're getting their care through Teladoc. They're getting their care through another telemedicine channel. GoodRx acquired a company called Hey Doctor to simplify it even more. Meaning, if you go to heydoctor.com and you land on their site, you have the ability to select whatever your underlying condition is. You can see a doctor right then and there for the cost of $20, and you have the ability to complete a telemedicine consultation and then have that prescription, receive that script and go directly to GoodRx, grab that coupon and get it filled.
Yeah, I don't know if you said this or not, but Hey Doctor is a GoodRx product.
Yes. So Hey Doctor was acquired by GoodRx. It was a Y Combinator company. They were actually doing all the front end telemedicine services early on for HIMSS, one of the big consumerization of health companies that, a lot of news around their SPAC. But yeah, they acquired this company, Hey Doctor, for the purpose of lowering that customer acquisition cost. If you're a patient that hasn't yet, because you still need to see a doctor before you get that script. So they saw that as an opportunity. Now, Chris, I know you've been waiting for it, but here it is. Where is the big distribution advantage, right?
Yeah.
The doctor's offices, the brick and mortar doctor's offices. GoodRx has done such an effective job at educating doctors within brick and mortar over, listen, if you've got to deal with this prior auth, present us, present us as that next, as another cash pay alternative or another viable choice to your patient. It's a way for you to not have to do your prior authorization, and it becomes a really better benefit for your patient because they end up getting the drug potentially at even a lower cost than what the payer will what the payer will cover. So they've gone in and they have dominated the provider channel, dominated. So when you think about Chris's
point earlier, how did they do that?
Just
did they have
very
cards
effective
at the office or what?
You're talking sending pamphlets, calling on physician offices. Very similar tactics than what pharmaceutical manufacturers play when they send sales reps into offices. They were educating doctors on this. Another company that did a really good job dominating the provider channel is another private company called Alto Pharmacy that also pursued the same method, hiring former pharma sales reps to go in and educate doctors on their solution to dominate as a mail order pharmacy choice to simplify that prior auth also process for doctors. So they said, we're going to make your lives easier. Now, to Chris's point earlier, Dave, I know that you and I and Chris, we're all going to be Amazon pharmacy users, but think about the subset of the population, the older demographic, people in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, that really, really, really depend on their brick and mortar physician. They're not going to the Teladocs and these other platforms to receive their telemedicine from just any provider. They have their doctor that they really, really trust. They want to go see them in the office. This is how they're used to receiving their care. GoodRx is going to still be presented as that great alternative choice to that patient. And the question is, will that change? Will that change?
Well, there's another thing too, Chase. Like, it seems to me like Amazon is like the perfect, pharmacy for something that you have regularly coming to you. But what about you just get diagnosed with like strep throat or something like that, and you want to get your Z-Pak immediately? Are you going to order that through Amazon, or are you going to walk into CVS and try to get it right away?
It depends.
I would think
can
there's
Amazon
a lot
get
of
that
use
to
cases.
You same day, Jordan? If they can get it to me same day, I'll do Amazon
same day. But like 6 hours later, to where I could just drive straight from the doctor's office to CVS or Walgreens or something like that, and take my GoodRx coupon in, and then boom, I'm done.
Yeah. I think right now Amazon is saying 2-day delivery, but I'm sure, like every Amazon product, it will get a shorter window. And you might even be able to, while you're sitting in the doctor's office lobby, you could get on GoodRx, see what the price is. You could get on Amazon, see what the price is, and you could have it potentially shipped from. That the traditional retailers are also trying to move into online, and they've had a hard time convincing people to stop going to brick and mortar and move online, which is kind of GoodRx's, that's their promise is, well, we know that we're not going to get everyone to start doing online, so it's actually good for us.
But Dave,
and there's another thing with
they don't
CVS
even
and
have
Walgreens
to do
too, is that
online
they're
because
offering
all the pharmacies, they will do online and do delivery for GoodRx. GoodRx can get your meds to you in 2 hours through CVS, through Walgreens, because they all do delivery now. Some of them for free. So it's like GoodRx. My favorite thing about GoodRx is Chase, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like the pharmacies have all figured out that GoodRx is like their serious partner, right? And so the pharmacies are going to spend billions of dollars to fight Amazon to like in terms of service quality, delivery, access, all that stuff, making sure they're constantly in front of the customer, trying to get the customer to say, hey, you know what? You can order that from Amazon, but also why don't you come in the pharmacy, because you might, now that you're sick, you might need to get this, you want to get Gatorade right now today. I don't know. But the pharmacies are spending the money for GoodRx, right? To fight the fight, to get a piece. I don't know how big of a piece of the market goes to Amazon. I don't know how much of a piece goes to the pharmacies, but I know they're going to be pieces. It's not going to be winner takes all, right? We all know that. So,
and I think GoodRx has done the best job of branding themselves and getting into the doctor's office and being the one that has a primary spot at the actual pharmacy checkout counter. But I just did a quick Google search of GoodRx competitors, and there are a number of them. And the reason I was searching is the last time I was at a pharmacy, I did see a competing card right next to the GoodRx card.
How tall is this moat? I need to know.
That's very important. How tall is the moat? Very good question. All right, so let's go through it. So we look at wholesalers, i.e., I hinted at some earlier. Let's talk about companies like McKesson right now. McKesson launched a platform. Go ahead and pull it up, Dave. They launched a platform through one of the acquisitions that they have, actually a service. They acquired a company that makes prior authorizations far more simple. They bought the company for about $1 billion, actually. And with that acquisition, they got a company called Script Hero. Go ahead and pull that up, Dave. Now, why is Script Hero important? Because Script Hero provides a directly competitive service with GoodRx. And in fact, Script Hero actually has, for certain branded medications like that Travatan Z and some of these other products, some branded products, generic products, some of the drugs on Script Hero, depending on your zip code, location, etc., are actually cheaper than GoodRx. Now,
because they get to cut one hop out of the flow chart that you had.
Exactly. They cut out the PBM. So the PBM is not part of this channel. This is a relationship with the wholesaler that is offering this directly to patients. Now,
that scares the hell out of me if I'm GoodRx, right?
It should scare you. But this is where I think GoodRx, not even I think, I know GoodRx has a leg up. Interactions with consumers. They know how to market to consumers. They know how to conduct all the performance marketing. They know how to acquire customers. McKesson is a wholesaler. And again, I have many friends and individuals that I really respect that are over at McKesson. So I really look up. I think that it's a truly incredible company. But McKesson, it's not their natural DNA to interact and interface directly with consumers. If anything, they need to learn how to do that very well in order to compete with GoodRx. And knowing how to do that is an incredible core competency. Again, look at the DNA of GoodRx. You've got former Facebookers. These are people that really understand how to play the consumer game. Can Script Hero learn how to play that game better than GoodRx? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you and I, we go to GoodRx, our doctor's talking about GoodRx, I'm not hearing about Script Hero. No one is telling me about Script Hero as a potential choice.
But is eventually just Google going to also get involved and just be the aggregator? You type in the drug that you need. Like if I were on Travatan Z, is that seems like a very expensive drug. Whoops,
It's definitely an expensive drug.
we just completely.
But
There we go. We're back.
Compare it to GoodRx.
So this is Script Hero at $55, and if I pull up the same drug on GoodRx, it's $206. So if I were on that drug, I would. Hopefully, my doctor would tell me you need to go to Script Hero instead of GoodRx, even though we used GoodRx for everything else, because it just needs to be the lowest cost to the final customer.
But Chase, why can't GoodRx get that deal? I don't understand why GoodRx can't get that same deal from that manufacturer. Why would the manufacturer not give the deal to GoodRx?
Because Script Hero is, they're cutting out the one middleman. You saw how many people have to get paid on the way.
The pharmacy
GDRX do that.
The pharmacy benefit manager is still involved, the PBM. So
why can't GoodRx be a PBM?
Well, okay, that's a different question. GoodRx actually, the way that they did it actually is they were able to get a PBM. They were very good at enterprise and consumer. They were able to go directly to the PBMs and solidify those partnerships with the PBMs early on. Which has been very, very impressive. And this could hurt them, or this could have hurt them, or this could have helped them. It depending on how you look at it, right? But that's the big thing, Chris. It's the fact that GoodRx still has the relationships directly with the PBMs. Script Hero has a relationship directly with the wholesaler. There's a piece of that intermediary that's cut out.
What is preventing GoodRx to also develop relationships with wholesalers like Script Hero is, so they can match those deals for the wholesalers that are willing to do that? Anything?
So first, again, they could match it, but it's going to cut into the amount of money that GoodRx makes on a per script basis is going to go down. But let's assume, for example, $55 and that $200-something for the Travatan Z is a significant difference.
Yeah.
It's a very significant difference.
As a consumer, the first thing I would do would be go to Google and type in that drug, and the top ad is Script Hero, and it says $55. So they're jumping the shark on getting. I don't even see if GoodRx shows up here. Maybe in the natural results, there's GoodRx is like the second natural search result for it.
Yeah. So they're competing for that paid search. They're paying more for it. To Chris's point though, even if GoodRx, even if GoodRx says, we're not going to take money on the Travatan Z, again, on a branded drug, they could be making like around $20. $20 from 200 and whatever dollars doesn't come close to the $55.
Yeah.
No. They would have to screw over their partner, the PBM.
Okay.
And because by the way, the PBMs are the ones that are really getting the most of that. Their profit margins are actually almost better than anyone in the value chain. I.e., if you guys watching Dumb Money right now are pissed off and you're like, you know what? I hate the pharma manufacturers. The first person you should be pissed out about drug prices are the PBMs. I just want to start off by saying that. You should be pissed off at the PBMs because they're the ones actually that are walking away with the highest margin out of anyone else in the value chain. Depends on a drug by drug basis, but for the most part.
So then back to my question, what does it take to be a PBM?
What stops the manufacturers doing more deals with the Script, like direct, right? Like, where does the market go? That's what I don't understand. Like, where does it go in 5 years?
So this is a really big. You guys are now asking the critical questions. I'm going to hit on Dave's point quickly. Why can't they be a BPM? Because this relates to your point, Chris, around where do they go in 5 years. Both of your points you just mentioned, the latter part of the discussion, are very related. Why can't they become a PBM? So Dave, these PBMs, okay, if you can build an entity and get tens of millions of patients within that entity and then negotiate on behalf of those tens of millions of patients. So the first step is how do you get tens of millions of patients that you're going to be negotiating on behalf of, with the payer? It's very difficult to build out an audience like that. I mean, if you're able to do that, if you have tens of millions of super attentive individuals within, that are captured within your audience,
like Amazon
you've got
has
many billion dollars. I'm sorry?
Like Amazon has? So
See,
I
that's
mean,
the bigger important. Now that's the bigger
that's
important
that's
question
where
is,
I get worried for good, because Amazon already has the audience, and if they can just get a fraction of the people who are buying their groceries and everyday items and electronics and everything from Amazon, if they just get a fraction to try the mail order pharmacy and like it for the things that are the regular reoccurring subscription, they'll still go to the brick and mortar when they need something quick, but just for the everyday pharmacy
splits the
purchases.
yeah, I mean, well, look. Is it a surprise that in 2017, like, let's point out what Amazon did. Now, this is, is this coincidence? In 2017, in 2017 was a big year for Amazon. They acquired, as we discussed, PillPack. And who else did they acquire in 2017, guys?
Whole Foods.
Whole
Yeah.
Foods.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my question. Are they going, and they also have locations of Amazon Fresh now. So they actually have physical grocery store locations nationwide, more and more every day.
And let's continue to look across the spectrum among these companies for a second. They then in 2018 launched Haven, i.e. that joint venture between Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, and JP Morgan. And this was a way to lower costs, increase access to primary care, make drugs more affordable. They partnered up with Cigna, CVS. With CVS helps Aetna to do this. Then, which is what is live right now, they launched a service called Amazon Care, which enables any Amazon employee to receive a telemedicine consultation between the times of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. for anything: advice, diagnosis, treatment, referrals. They have all 24/7 accessibility to chat with a doctor, and this is a service specifically for their employees. Then you have AWS, which is providing cloud services for healthcare, life science data, all the healthcare payers, providers, etc. You've got a company that is really dominated. They've gone and acquired the brick and mortar aspect, and they're going at it. Then you look at companies like Walmart, which we haven't even talked about on this episode. What does this mean for Walmart? Walmart's another one of the potential options, by the way. If you look at Script Hero, you look at Blink Health, by the way, is another competitor of GoodRx. If you look at Blink Health, Script Hero, or GoodRx, and you look at the different options. Walmart has 90% of Americans are within 10 miles of a freaking Walmart. 90%. We're talking 5,000 stores, more than 5,000 stores across the country. They now have 20 clinic locations in the states of Texas, Georgia, South Carolina.
And wasn't Walmart one of the early leaders in lowering generic drug prices, coming up with that $5 program for the most common drugs? And now everyone is doing that, and Amazon's going to have everything is the race to the bottom for drugs.
It is. And again, like I was saying earlier, and for the cost of care, right? Walmart is offering primary care doctor services for $20 to $40 cash pay, $40 to $50 if you want to go see a dentist, $45 for an eye exam, and then they also offer counseling services as well. So we have a lot of players that are entering the space, which is definitely which is causing, fortunately for consumers, it's providing better convenience and it's providing lower costs, which again is a very, very good thing for the market. Then you have companies like Rite Aid, who are now investing a huge amount. They did a big announcement at the health conference. Rite Aid just recently brought on a very, very smart individual. She's brilliant. She formerly ran, she's the new chief e-commerce officer at Rite Aid. She was formerly at Walmart. She was the head of corporate development at Jet.com. And then she joined Rite Aid as the chief e-commerce officer. They're now entering the space. So you've got all these players, pharmacies that are now starting to offer these e-commerce services. Like Chris mentioned earlier, the question is, will someone select that, the delivery from the CVS Rite Aid directly to their home, or will they go to Amazon? Amazon, what they really need to do is, again, it comes down to product changes, product modifications. Even after their announcement and their launch, like Dave said, they have a very attentive audience. These are people that are buying everything through Amazon. They have to make the product changes that make it a lot easier for people to sign up. Like, let me ask you, Dave, Chris, Jordan, have any of you signed up on Amazon Pharmacy?
No, not until
yet.
starting to research.
Let's go right now. Pharmacy.amazon.com. I want you to pull it up. This is the flow. Now, this is the question. Is this a good enough flow? We know from a product perspective, the smallest product change can vastly, there's certain features on Facebook. The former head of product at Facebook gave this really good chat where small businesses weren't using this feature. They had to make a number of product modifications because they had such an attentive audience. And then all of a sudden, everybody started using that feature. Amazon Pharmacy Amazon has to make the same changes. They need to find a way to capture the attention of the audience that they have.
Yeah.
And that's going to require a ton of investment from a product perspective in order for them to do it.
And I think it kind of starts with, typing in the drug name in Google. Amazon didn't have an ad there saying buy it at our pharmacy, right? If they had that same drug and they had a $55 price tag next to it and they were the second paid ad at the top of Google, that might get the clicks, right? But here we are on pharmacy.amazon, and they can deliver meds in 45 states, I learned. They're in most states. Now, am I actually signing up?
I am.
I don't know how much personal information I'm going to have to give on the screen here.
I'm signing up right this
They
second.
need my social. Okay, let's just take it off the screen for a second, and I'm going to sign up because why not? I'll tell you exactly what they need. My first name, my middle name.
It's so easy.
My suffix is.
It takes 5 minutes.
Okay, so far, there's nothing personally identifiable on the screen, so we'll go ahead and share this with the audience. My legal name, I'll change that to David. Although I think my prescriptions all are written for Dave because that's what my doctor calls me. Anyway. Next page. Continue.
Dude,
Chris, have you already beat me to it? Are you already a pharmacy customer?
I'm going through it right now. I'm just confirming they sent me
They already know my home mailing address, obviously. Use that as my default delivery address. They already had that pre-filled. Now they don't know my birthday, so I'm going to put that in. Now maybe they'll also send me a birthday card, which, considering how much I spend at Amazon, you
probably
think that
more
they would
likely
do that.
they'll give you offers for things you can buy less expensive on your birthday.
I love
Jordan.
offers.
Yeah.
I love offers. They want to know
agree
which
with that.
sex I was assigned at birth. That's a good way to ask that question. And the last 4 of my social. And I trust Amazon. More than I trust you guys to show it on screen. And my email address they already have. My phone number they already have. So yes, I'm going to check the box to allow text messaging. And continue. And now let's go over your medications and health history. So they're going to have a little survey for me to fill out. Medications, allergies, health conditions. I mean, I can go ahead and do it all, right?
And you just have to do this once, right? Unless anything changes, you can make an update to your medical history. And then the other beautiful thing, by the way, is I want to wait for Dave to get to that step. I don't want to give it away. Go ahead,
So
Dave, keep going.
they just did a search trying to find my insurance information automatically in the background. Now, I just changed providers, so I probably am in a state of limbo right now because they didn't find it for me. But I'm guessing that probably works for 80-90% of people who go through.
It's searching for my insurance, Dave, right now.
But we're right in the middle of like open enrollment too, so I can't imagine that this would probably be the worst time to test this feature. But I can click add insurance.
It found my insurance, dude. Like, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know how they would do that, but let me see if this is correct.
I'm sure it is. That you gave them your birth date and last 4 of social, and they probably integrate with some data provider that has that information on you.
I don't know if the number that they gave me is my. I don't have an insurance ID. I don't know. I'll just say yes. Give me some random number, but.
Well, it's either your insurance or someone else's. It'll be fine. You don't have to pay for it if it's someone else's.
I guess that's fine, right? They found it.
And by the way, this one is really, I mean, I think this is great too, because by Amazon having, again, sometimes it's sometimes actually cheaper for you to not use your insurance.
Yeah.
CVS, Walgreens, until very recently, there was actually a law passed that prohibited pharmacies from saying whether or not the cash pay price is actually cheaper than your copay on a drug using your insurance.
Which I always thought was
completely out.
Bizarro
So
world
stupid.
that and even the pharmacist is like, well, I can't tell you what to do, but you might want to maybe look around.
Stupidity out the wazoo. Stupidity out the wazoo. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So again, Amazon though will actually, if a cash pay price, they'll offer you the cheaper price.
Yeah.
Which I think is really good.
And I would have never
Insurance
thought to
companies,
search.
like, lobbying against stuff like this. I mean, is there a chance that this gets threatened?
I mean, these are the reason why this didn't come to fruition until now, Jordan, is because of the amount of lobbying that was going against this for so long. I mean, if you think about it, should it have taken this long for us to have this as an option?
Right.
No, this should have been the default. It should have been, let's tell the people what the best price is, even if it's going to cost us a little bit of profits as a drug company or acronym middleman for the industry.
Well, it's the insurance
Dude,
company
this is
that's
amazing.
losing out, right? Because they're the ones that want to make the money by having their bureaucracy in place.
Now,
right?
So Chase, I just did this. I put a prescription that I have, and they're contacting my doctor evidently to try to get it changed.
Wasn't that better than anything you've ever done, pharmacy-wise?
Is that what you're supposed to like? Is that what you were waiting on just now?
Yeah, he was waiting on that what the F moment.
Like, let me tell you something,
Dude.
Chris. Now that they've acquired you and you've gone through it, will you ever go back to the other option? Now,
not unless it was substantial. I mean, he would actually probably pay 20% more to go through that, but it's the exact same insurance. So if you have a copay, it's going to be the same copay. And if it's a drug that you're going to pay the cash price, unless there was a substantial savings on that cash pay price by going through the hassle of looking up your GoodRx card and figuring out which pharmacy is cheaper, and then driving there, and then the next month when it happens to be cheaper at a different pharmacy, having your your prescription transferred from one to the other. I've done that. It was a nightmare. And that was my big, that's my big sticking point with GoodRx is, yes, it is a fantastic service. It is doing great for the world because they're lowering prices for people who need it. But it's not the most convenient. And if Amazon can give me the best or similar to best price, and I didn't even realize it, but right now, today, you can, in the normal Amazon site, just type a name brand drug and it pulls that drug up and the alternative and tells you what the price is. Right
But
there.
Dave,
You just drop it in your Amazon shopping cart.
Can there be multiple big winners here? And I think the answer probably is yes. Chase, what I love in all of my research on GoodRx, if I was going to pull out one thing, you gave us a piece of potential social arb, which is that they dominate and have figured out how to engage and connect and win over doctors. Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm going to give you one more piece of social arb I think that is worth considering on GoodRx. I am blown away at the connection they have with customers. Okay. It is unbelievable how people perceive this brand once they start using GoodRx. It is like, I don't know what their net promoter score is. I think it's like crazy high.
Well, it's just kind of shocking that it works. That was my experience. It's like, really? That exists? And why was I paying $200 for something I can now pay $16 for?
Dave, they talk about it. When people start using GoodRx, they not only fall in love with it, they start talking about it to their friends. They're like, dude, I can't believe how much money I just saved with GoodRx. Like, they actually, this stupid little discount card, which is how the world I perceived them initially. Yeah. They're basically, they're creating brand loyalty. Like, it's wild.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
But Chris, no, even if you love a brand, are you going to make your life more difficult to use that brand? Like, I get it. You'll use GoodRx every time you have to go to the pharmacy. If you have a Schedule II drug, you're still going to use your GoodRx card, or just, hopefully it's covered by your insurance, and you're just going to go to the local pharmacy. But for everything else, all these subscription drugs, all of your Lipitors of the world, you're just going to have those show up in your mailbox. And my next question for Dr. Chase, just because I'm a customer, I want to know, why have I not been using Amazon's pill pack, where they put all of my drugs and my vitamins in every day. It's like open the thing and count out. Okay, I need one of these and one of these, and I want to make sure I get my zinc. This, my COVID zinc and my. Why have I not been doing this? Because it apparently is the exact same price, or are there like vitamins super marked up?
Amazon is even actively advertising this, right? And so they're not in the face of the consumer yet. I don't know how they're planning on doing that. Are they just going to be like you search for a drug and there'll be an ad? It seems like they need to do a better job of getting this information out.
Well, as soon as I start using the pharmacy already, they should just say, hey, by the way, do you want it packaged in a bottle or do you want it packaged in a pack? Because they offer both.
It's so to your point, Dave, PillPack is primarily focused on patients with chronic degenerative diseases. Yeah. These are people with not any type of like acute care condition that requires like that quick, that one script you're going to take. But these are patients that are going to be taking these medications every single day for the rest of their lives. That's what PillPack has been primarily focused on. Now, again, I get that's what it's for, but out of convenience, if I could have vitamins and my Lipitor and my Propecia and my whatever my daily regimen is, all packaged up instead of having to go through 4 different bottles, and it's the same price, much easier.
Why not do it? I don't.
Much more convenient. And the big thing though, to go to your point, Dave, like around convenience, we're talking about, I've narrowed it down to 3 things in the eyes of, when we think about the perspective of the consumer for a second. For you, Dave, you're talking about convenience right now, being able to open up that pack, have all your medications in it. You're willing to pay for that. So, i.e., if you were to rank, and I want to ask each of you to force rank these. Brand,
but is PillPack more expensive?
And cost. That's the question.
Because it appears not to be, according to their website, unless they're marking up vitamins, which I'm sure they are, because vitamins are just 1,000% markup to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is too, on the prices, as we saw earlier with Travatan Z as an example, medication prices can differ on each of these different sites. Script Hero's price versus GoodRx's price versus Blink Health's price versus Amazon Pharmacy's price. It differs. But the big question is, once you're acquired as a customer, even like it really just depends on a per patient basis. Am I the patient that when I get my script, I Google the drug and I go through GoodRx, Script Hero? Am I shopping for cost to try to find the lowest cost? Am I shopping for convenience? i.e., I've already put all my information in Amazon Pharmacy. Even if it's a few dollars more, it's much simpler. It's much more convenient for me to receive it in Prime in a few days. Or is it based on brand? So that's the big question.
It's not one size fits all, though, for everyone, right?
I think some people will be more price conscious.
It depends on if my account is up or down that day. Some days it might be convenient. Some days it might be cost, right? So I think can we assume that there's a place for Amazon to be a mega winner and potentially GoodRx in the short term, at least, like the next 12 to 36 months to be a mega winner? I mean, maybe the future of GoodRx moving beyond 24 months is a little more, a little hazy, like it's harder to see, but what's the trade here? Like, is there a social arb trade the next year? 12 months?
We've made people wait an hour. What is the trade?
What do you got?
Here it is. So here it is. I bought GoodRx when it was down. So, it was always hovering around the $50, $48 to $52 mark. It then went down to the low 30s. I just want to give, by the way, a special shout out because this is Danny Azrin, actually, my future brother-in-law. He actually called me up. And he said, he debated me on this. I was like, Amazon Pharmacy, that day, like I always get these impulsive responses. That's why I always have to wait, do my research before I'll never do it. I never make an impulse decision. I have to really think about it. That day, I was Amazon. Amazon's going to dominate. It's over for everybody else. Danny actually calls me and says, listen, it was down that day because I actually just bought GoodRx. And I'm thinking to myself, no, dumb trade. And then I started thinking about it. I actually started rationalizing everything and thinking about everything that he was saying. And I realized GoodRx is a great buy. So I bought it at around 34, 35. I mean, obviously every day I'm holding a stock, I'm buying it that day. I still have my investment in GoodRx. Thank you, by the way, Chris. That was a Chris Camillo line when you're holding it. You're buying it another day. So I'm buying it today. I'm buying it tomorrow. I'm buying it next week. And the reason is I actually think GoodRx is a very good short and medium, not just short term, but also medium term play. I think that it is going to take a lot of time to get to what you guys just did, going on Amazon, pharmacy.amazon.com, going through the whole sign up process, et cetera. That's a piece of it. Simplifying product, making it easier for existing Amazon customers to go through that experience. But think about all the customers out there that are, that are still relying on brick and mortar, these older populations, which that's a massive you're talking about an enormous TAM. These older patients, these other individuals that are still depending on their brick and mortar physicians that are not relying on virtual care for their treatment. And I believe that GoodRx is going to continue to dominate that segment of the market. And again, I think that they're doing a lot there.
Chase, as you were speaking, I just picked up 10,000 shares of GoodRx as you were speaking just then, and I'm going to tell you why. It's what I was thinking before today's episode, and I wanted to hear the full, the analysis from you. I want to make sure I wasn't missing out on anything. But I purchased my 10,000 shares of GoodRx just now, almost entirely due to what I think is underappreciated customer loyalty and excitement and just enthusiasm for spreading the word about this product. And once you use it, I think you start to use it more and more and more, and you tell your friends about it. I could see them really coming out of the pandemic and exploding once people get back into pharmacies. They're looking to save money, obviously. Also, guys, I think that the Amazon effect maybe doesn't have a huge impact on them this next year. I'm not even thinking past 21 right now. I'm not even thinking about it. All I'm thinking about is the next year, will GoodRx continue to surprise us on the upside because of the just a massive amount of consumer loyalty and excitement around that brand. It's weird talking about excitement around a coupon card, right? For medications. But
people also love Groupon.
That's the one thing I haven't seen enough of in the kind of the financial Wall Street perspective of GoodRx. I do think Amazon's a little bit of an overhang and probably a risk factor, but like everything else, Amazon tippy toes into stuff, right? I could see Amazon kind of like not even pushing pharmacy for at least another year, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to play around with GoodRx and maybe get a social arb trade out of them before Amazon puts the pedal to the metal. Okay?
So what is your turning point?
We're seeing GoodRx like march into this space and really going out and acquiring customers, and Amazon's not doing that. You have not seen an Amazon advertisement at all for this product.
Exactly.
You only hear about it on financial news channels.
Exactly, and that's important. How many people?
The case for? He's making the case. You invested in GoodRx. You're unsure what happens 5-6 years from now, but you're long GoodRx. Irrelevant from Amazon. You love Amazon too, though, in this space, right? That's what you're saying. You love Amazon.
I love Amazon too, but I mean, really, this is the takeaway. Anytime Amazon enters a market, people say, "Oh, market X is done." Oh, they entered. Consumer companies like Warby Parker, all these direct-to-consumer brands. They're going to get Amazoned. They're going to get Amazoned out of the market. Forerunner Ventures, a venture firm in Silicon Valley, has built an incredible fund off of people that are building, e-commerce. Whenever everyone was like, "Oh, the e-commerce of X, Y, and Z is done," if you go to their website, look at their portfolio companies. These are areas and spaces that Amazon has and will continue to target, but there are still multi-billion-dollar companies that have been developed within each of those segments. Just because Amazon is entering doesn't mean that Amazon will own the market. That's the takeaway I had. I will be a user of Amazon Pharmacy. I will be a user of GoodRx. But most importantly, I see that there is long-term place, short and medium-term place. I should correct myself, for both these entities. And to Jordan's point, which is key, how many people are watching CNBC? How much out of the 330 million or so Americans, how many people are getting their information for their prescription drugs off of these channels versus Googling and going through these alternative advertisements? Amazon has a lot of work to do to lock in these alternative distribution channels. So yes, I am with you, Chris. I'm happy you came to the same conclusion that I did. And that's why I have GoodRx and Amazon.
By the way, Chase, it's important for us to tell everyone right now that neither me, Dave, you, or Jordan are financial advisors. So like we're just we're walking you through our actual thought process, our social arb thought process for a specific trade. It happens to be GoodRx. This is not us telling the audience, go buy GoodRx. Dude, we would never do that. And we're telling you not to do that. Do your own research, talk to an advisor, do whatever you want to do. Hopefully you kind of, we helped you think about the social arb process for a company that might not be an obvious social arb trade. And I made my decision. I know my risk tolerance. I have no idea what the hell your risk tolerance is, whoever's watching this show. So like, I can't make that decision for you, but we're not financial analysts. Do not copy these trades.
Do not listen to my financial advice. I'm telling you, again, I'm making my decisions for me. I am not making my decisions or telling any of you to do anything that I do. In fact, again, whether you're a friend, whether you're a stranger, do not listen to me. But just again, this is really just purely for educational purposes.
Hey, Chris, for educational purposes, I'm wondering what that information dissemination moment is going to be for you that makes this no longer a social arb trade and just something that you're hanging on to for the medium to long term.
That's a really great question, Dave. I don't know. This is a tough one, right? Because I feel like the market's not paying attention to the power of the brand of GoodRx and the power of the network effect of GoodRx. So when I see that starting to come into play, hopefully a year from now,
is it when you see a TV commercial for Amazon Pharmacy on the Super Bowl, or when you see Amazon Pharmacy represented at the checkout desk at your local doctor's office? Is it one of those kind of things where, oh, now Amazon is actually front and center reaching out to normal people who don't follow financial news?
Yeah, I think that would be an instance where someone else like Amazon is potentially blocking the dominant position that GoodRx has. So anything to interrupt what I believe is a pure play on just brand extension, brand value, and dominating the space of saving money on prescriptions, which is what GoodRx is building this brand around. What you remember when we were kids and we would have those I called it a pass book. It was like called entertainment. It was a huge book of coupons. Remember that, guys? Yeah. It was like everyone had them
used to sell those, didn't you?
Outside of Texas.
You door-to-door sold those.
They door-to-door sold them, and like it seems so odd, but everybody used those things. It was like before you went to a certain type of restaurant or a certain type of like event, the movie theater, like you would pull the coupon out of that thing.
Well,
like
you did. I think you're the only person I knew who actually had the passbook in your car with you at all times, just in case you happen to go to Prego Pasta House.
See, I feel like the arb is basically against the reaction that the market had to GoodRx that Amazon was jumping into the marketplace, right? That's the arb.
Yeah.
That's what Chase just took advantage of, right?
And Chase
to get in
that arb
used this price drop to get in.
Yeah, you're right, Jordan. I think there's multiple arb plays. One is just based on Amazon. The Amazon concern is not really reality this moment, and maybe not for another year or two. The same way that Apple Fitness wasn't a real concern for Peloton, maybe for 6 more months, or maybe for 12 months, or maybe never. But like when it moved Peloton stock down, and then people woke up and they're like, well, wait a second, this is just another Apple thing that will probably happen, but we don't know if they'll ever even talk about it again, or if it fades away, or if anyone really cares about it, or even if it does become a big deal. It might be the type of thing where it gets people thinking, and then they make a decision to use a connected fitness product, whether it's Peloton or Apple, doesn't really matter. The bottom line is they're getting people to think about it. Same thing. Amazon is getting you to think about saving money on pharmacy. So if Amazon could save you money at pharmacy, maybe you use Amazon for some of your pharmacy and GoodRx for some of the other pharmacy that you get. Maybe I use both, because I only put one prescription in my Amazon right now. You know what it was? It was my Synthroid, because I have a Graves disease, right? So I take Synthroid every day. I know I need that drug every day for the rest of my life. So why not get it from Amazon, right? But
And then it
when I get my
shows up, you don't have
antibiotics,
to worry about it. And I think that, like I said, I think that's their best use cases for drugs that are regularly scheduled, like, Abigail has cystic fibrosis. So maybe I look at that as a way to get her, because there's drugs that she constantly takes for that. And so maybe, but for the doctor's visit where you've got something unexpected, that's where I think, GoodRx might still be the way to go.
And I think anyone who's taking something on a reoccurring basis, you should shop around. And if Amazon has the best price, buy it there. And if somewhere else has the best price, or if it's covered by insurance, you might as well be on Amazon. It kind of varies by drug almost, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And just to break it down, to simplify it, the case that Chris and Jordan just brought up was the chronic case. If you know you're going to need it, it's chronic. It's a long-term standing disease, whether it's cystic fibrosis, Graves' disease, the many other chronic diseases that exist out there. You're going to need it every single month, versus the acute. This is not a long-term disease. You're seeing your doctor. You need to go pick up your script right then and now. Your antibiotics or whatever else. You go with your GoodRx coupon. So, and again, I agree with what Dave said. Make sure you're always check all the sites out. Look at GoodRx. Look at Script Hero. Look at Blink Health. Look at Amazon Pharmacy. Go with the cheapest if that's what you're optimizing for. Go with the most convenient. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the consumer's choice, and we should all be very happy that these changes are happening in the market, because this is really a good thing for the world.
Chase, so, Blue Zero says GoodRx feels like a quote exit company. They will grow to a point and then sell to big money like Amazon. Where is a home? Is there a home for GoodRx? Eventually, is there a complementary play for GoodRx? I don't know. Is there an acquisition in their future?
I mean, I would have said that I could see one of the wholesalers coming in and acquiring a GoodRx, just because they do such an effective job at interfacing directly interfacing with consumers. But now they're too expensive. I mean, look at the market cap of a McKesson, and then look at the market cap of a GoodRx. It should have, if it was going to happen, it should have happened at the $1 to $2 billion point, not the tens of billions of dollar point.
Yeah. Even after the stock price dropped, GoodRx is still a $14.5 billion company. So it makes it difficult to have a little simple acquisition unless you're Amazon or Walmart.
Yeah, and listen, I think that Tammy L says, okay, maybe Amazon isn't a concern now, but that might not matter because the market looks forward. Yeah, Tammy, you're totally right. The market definitely looks forward, but as the market looks forward, will they get to a point where they start to realize that Amazon could be hyper successful? But if GoodRx gets enough traction, especially the next year, that they could stand on their own and they're going to get a pretty big segment of this market. Amazon will get their segment. Maybe the market ends up getting split and the initial fear kind of comes down a little bit. That's kind of where I was going. I think the longer it takes Amazon to put their pedal to the metal on this whole pharma space, the less people will be concerned that they're just going to completely knock out someone like GoodRx, because they really are two different people, right? And sometimes it's the same person, but a different part of their prescription, buying pattern. Like for me, I'm going to use both. I'm going to use Amazon. I'm also, by the way, I have used GoodRx only because I got to the window of my drive-through pharmacy and they were like, it's going to cost you this much money, but just download this thing right now and get a coupon off of them and it will save you like 60%. It was insane. And so that was the first time I ever used GoodRx. So I don't see why that would stop, because nothing in the next year is going to stop people from going to pharmacies. And by the way, as soon as we start getting our vaccines, people are going to be back in the pharmacy in a huge, huge way, right?
I completely agree with that, Chris. And I think you really hit the nail on the head, which is, again, we're talking the biggest piece for me too, and where I made my own personal decision, which again, my decision alone, do your own research, is based on the distribution. The fact that pharmacists are recommending it, download this app, that is a really, I mean, you're standing right then and there. You're at point of, it's point of care, right? You're getting someone to do something. You have the pharmacist, the doctor, the pharmacist, this person you trust that's telling you that you are going to save money from this. Do this right then and there. And the question is, can Amazon Pharmacy, how long will it take them to get that same distribution advantage with the pharmacists and with the providers? Amazon Pharmacy, these pharmacies have no incentive to help Amazon. They're not going to say, go to Amazon Pharmacy, it's going to be cheaper for you.
Yeah.
GoodRx will always have that advantage. The question is, will they be able to break into the doctors? And by the way, the other revenue stream that I didn't mention, which just do your own research on as well, but GoodRx actually makes money as well from the pharma manufacturers. They're selling data to the pharmaceutical manufacturers, and they're selling different SEO services to the pharmaceutical manufacturers as well, which we didn't even discuss, which is important. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry, man.
I just laughed some of the comments. Okay, one thing that I think we need to factor in here that will prevent Amazon from just taking over this market quickly is that doctors are older generally, and doctors, a lot of doctors in this country are not still write scripts the old-fashioned way, believe it or not. They still fax, they still write them out, and they just don't like change, right? So getting a doctor to kind of proactively embrace scripting towards Amazon, it's just a hurdle. That's all. It's just a hurdle to Amazon's flow, right? Just something to think about. You know, for me, this is a relatively short-term trade. This is like, I think in my mind, I'm gonna think about this deeper in a year, right? If I'm still sitting in GoodRx a year from now, we'll probably have you back on the show. We'll be like, what has changed? What has changed in the last year? Is the social arb trade still there? You know, is it not? Are there new windows to arb this or not? Because this is not a trade I necessarily want to be in for a decade, right? I got to reevaluate this every quarter, and especially next year.
Yeah, but if a consumer wants to use Amazon, is there a way for a doctor to block that? I mean, they can use whatever, you can use whatever pharmacy you choose to.
You can. That is a law. It is the freedom of choice of the patient to select the pharmacy of their choice, whether it's a local or a mail order. It's always freedom of choice to the patient. There's no way you can push one pharmacy over another.
Okay.
You have to provide freedom of choice. That's very important.
Yeah, but how is Amazon? I'm just curious. I assume they would accept it the same way they normally would through fax, right? It's mind blowing that they're still faxing prescriptions.
Hey, the finance world still has fax machines in the back of the bank somewhere too. I don't get that.
Oh boy. All I'm saying, guys, is I don't think physicians are going to proactively push that. Like you know what I'm saying? I think they're not even going to bring a lot of physicians are just going to be like, okay, you're still with Walgreens. You have to change the pharmacy, right? So like the consumer has to change it. Otherwise, things will stay the same. It will be the same pharmacy that you used the same time you were at that doctor last, right?
Yeah. And
just it's a little thing, but it could be a big thing in terms of how long it takes to change.
Yeah, and mail order has been a thing that pretty much every insurance company has their own mail order pharmacy, and so people are familiar with the idea. But there's something nicer about Amazon than your, insurance carrier. To me, it just seems like that's more convenient.
I don't use my mail order, Dave. And I don't even know why.
No,
I don't even know why. I think they'll save me money. I just don't do it. I don't want
Yeah, we do the mail order because we've got stuff that comes regularly, and we can't even get some of her drugs in a pharmacy because it's got to be shipped in like a cold container and stuff like that. And so, it's a decent experience, but the problem is scheduling, right? That's a nice thing about Amazon is that you see everything on their web interface. You know exactly when it's going to show up. You can track the package with your provider. You don't get that same level of service.
All right, this has been awesome. I'm in. Chase is in. Dave, Jordan.
I think I'm in too, but very short term. Just as GoodRx recovers a little bit, because I think long term the trajectory of this company is not as exciting as it was pre-Amazon saying we're going to be a pharmacy and offer competitive, low discounted prices on drugs that will mail directly to you. Before they said that, and you were just competing with the insurance carriers who would give you a lower price and mail it to you, that isn't as compelling to me as Amazon doing it. And I'm in just to watch as this stock comes back, hopefully over the course of the next few months.
Jordan?
Jordan?
I think it's a compelling argument. Now I've got to go do my own research, as everybody else should.
You're not as compulsive as Chris and I. Chris makes the trade on the fly. I pretty much decide, and as soon as we log off, because I have too many other screens going on right now, I'll do it then. And Jordan is going to actually do research the way nature intended. So good job, Jordan. I do have a question while we have you on the line, and we're talking about pharmacies. I just happen to be looking at the other pharmacy quotes, and Rite Aid is up 14% today. What is going on there? They're also up like 60%. They dropped immediately on the Amazon news, but then and kind of stayed low for a week or so, and then they've just been on a tear since. What in the world is going on there?
I have no idea.
Rite Aid has
this drop right here on the X is when Amazon made the announcement. So they dropped and then stayed, but then look at that. Wow. That has to be what, 65%.
Yeah, Rite Aid. As I mentioned earlier, Rite Aid has been investing significant amounts in. Has been investing significant amounts. I mean, they've made a ton of changes to their executive teams. They've been investing tremendous amounts in pawning top talent from top tech companies, as well as, the big retailers like Walmart, who have effectively done a really good job on the e-commerce side. And they're investing a lot in, this whole, they've got this at the health conference, they announced the clinic of the future, the way that pharmacists are getting really educated of speaking to a variety of different products, not just prescription products. When patients come in the door, they're getting specially trained on this. And then they're doing a ton of work on really creating like very much more simplified e-commerce experiences. I mean, 14% is a big jump. I have to do my research. I've been jamming with you guys, so I can definitely get back to you on what the situation is.
And we're going to let you go in a minute, Chase. But when we last had you on, we talked about Teladoc and the merger. Obviously, they've come down some, likely related to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of this pandemic. And do we really still need to go to see doctors remotely? What are your thoughts? Do you think people stick with this concept post-pandemic and Teladoc comes out of this in a good place, or no?
So if we look at, again, going back to the telemedicine piece, heavily commoditized, only becoming more and more commoditized. We know that Teladoc acquired Livongo in order to differentiate themselves. That's why they were willing to spend the $18 billion on acquiring them. The question is, Livongo is a company that moves really, really quickly. I'm not holding my Teladoc or Livongo position. I got out after I own Teladoc and I own Livongo. Again, do your own research, but I got out of my own position in these companies because, again, for me, I was really excited about Livongo because, again, I saw Livongo really becoming a $100 billion company. The question is, can they be a $100 billion remote patient monitoring company under the slower moving nature of Teladoc? A lot of the executives from Livongo left. The president left. A lot of their senior executives left. Will Teladoc be able to enable Livongo to move at the speed that a Livongo was able to move at pre-acquisition? And I don't believe that to be true. I could be very wrong. I know that I've got some friends and other colleagues who are still holding it, and it's been a debate, but I decided to exit my position there.
All right, so not clear cut. There's risk factors related to management leaving, and can they continue to do what they've been doing at Livongo? It's a bigger company, so they have to put up big numbers at that bigger market cap, right? As a combined company.
Yep, they have to, and again, at least post, with everything that's going on with vaccine news, we know that telemedicine is going to be negatively impacted by this positive news. Like, do I believe that telemedicine will have a long-term place? For sure. 30% of all these visits can easily be accomplished through telemedicine. I'm a huge believer in telemedicine, but again, it's a commodity. And I do think it's going to hurt Teladoc stock, at least over the short term. The thing I am really excited about, though, which separate than telemedicine, is remote patient monitoring. There is a massive opportunity, as we've seen physician reimbursement scheduling changes on Medicare reimbursing this idea of remote patient monitoring. I believe there's going to be many billion dollar companies that pop up there's going to be many billion dollar companies that pop up around this whole concept of remote patient monitoring. I viewed Livongo as becoming that dominant force in the space. But again, to me, startups have the ability to move a lot faster. They obviously have a huge head start in the diabetes space, but we see a lot of other competitors popping up in other condition areas. Hinge Health.
And we're still invested in. How's the one that we're invested in with you? The startup that did patient monitoring, right? Or was it communications? Patient communications.
Yeah, they're still in stealth mode. They've been what they're doing is they're providing this service. They're selling this services to private practices to make it easy for them to help enable and provide these remote patient monitoring services directly to their patients. But they're still stealth. We can definitely. I'll be able to share more information, I'm sure, on the next episode. I know they're going to be.
And for those of y'all that don't know, we do. Before we kind of hid in our houses this year for the pandemic, Jordan, Dave, and I were investing in startups. We're the second most active startup investors in the state of Texas in 2019, believe it or not. And we do a lot of med tech and bio investing all through Chase. So like if it's touching the pharma space or the med tech space or anything related to that, we basically just do that through you, Chase. I don't even want to know about it. Chase just says he has something good. We give him some money, and I don't even know how many companies we're invested in through you, but in that space, we trust your opinion. So.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys.
Is Masterclass going to go public anytime soon? We need to exit that thing at some point.
Yeah, no, that's that. I anticipate the time is definitely near for Masterclass. It'll be exciting to see what they end up doing, though.
You got so much good content.
They do. It's an incredible. It really is an incredible company. It's funny. I was telling Chris the other day that this has been my longest cold period of not having, I've been looking at a lot of early stage deals, but I haven't. I put like a pause on my early stage investing for like the last 6 months. I've got to definitely reignite it. So I'll tell you, you guys will know soon. It's good to take a break. It's good to take a breather. You were going too fast, man. You were in. Gosh, we did a lot of deals last year. Insane. We did. We definitely did.
Well, listen,
awesome,
thank
guys.
you for coming on the show, man. This has been so great. Anything happens in the med community, like anything really to any public sector, please ping us again. Come on the show.
For sure.
Let us know. We'll do the same if we have any questions for you.
Awesome. Again, thanks, guys.
Always good to have Chase on the show.
Thank you, Chase.
It's so fun. Some of our most lively discussions are when Chase joins in the square. And we do want to thank everybody also for participating in the chat. I know that we have a nurse, Tammy, who's been in nursing for 14 years. She wanted to jump on. We just can't put everyone into the stream, but we really do appreciate your contributions in the live chat. And yes, we do really read it. So know that sometimes we don't look at it enough, but yes, we definitely are participating in the chat and everything else.
That said, Dave, we are looking to bring on 1 to 2 community members a week, and we're generally focused on the high conviction channel of our Discord. When we see something there that we think is of interest, we're pulling you guys on the show to share your insights with the community on the live show. So if you have something, whether it's Tammy or anyone else, put together a little high conviction report. I think we have like a template on there. By the way, I do want to address something. A lot of we've had some community members. I know there's been, some people trying to sell some stuff in the Discord. We talked to the moderators yesterday. We're going to keep the Dumb Money Discord really clean and ask everyone not to pitch any type of services that they're selling, whether it's a trading service or a research service. So no purchase, no services for money, right? In our Discord.
Don't link out to anything that's going to
operate-
cost anyone anything, and it's cool.
Yeah, so we're all good going forward. Obviously, we never ask you guys for money unless, and if you're buying like dumb money ornaments, if you haven't seen them, they're ridiculously cool. We don't get money from that, guys. We literally do this at cost pricing. So Dave, I've already bought a bunch. I don't know if you see my orders coming through. I'm about to place a bunch more today.
Well, you better hurry because I need to do some research because we use various vendors for various products and we have it automatically routing to whoever can ship first at this point. But you know how shipping is around the holidays.
Nervous.
My laptop that was supposed to be here yesterday by 9 p.m. still isn't here. And now the last scan was in Kentucky, so who knows? And then my other laptop was last scanned in Korea. So it made its way out of China apparently, but it's not here yet.
So it wasn't on the boat that toppled?
Did you get the one yesterday?
No, it didn't show up. So, but and they don't have a new date. It was supposed to be yesterday by 9, but maybe soon. I don't know. It just says no scheduled date. Check back for a schedule.
Big bummer.
Yeah.
Dude, this is nice. My account is finally positive today. Oh, I was really frustrated earlier in the show when the market was hitting all-time highs and my account was negative. It is nice to be positive again.
Which stock was pulling you back?
I don't know. I think it was like, let's see. Oh, GBTC, is Bitcoin down today? What's up?
Yeah, but like 5 or 6%. I mean, that's not it's not unheard of.
Yeah, SPWH a little bit. Amazon's down a little bit. Curaleaf's down. Some of my nothing much. That Nikola short's down again today. Gosh, Nikola.
Oh, Nikola. Why is anyone buying Nikola stock? Although we should know. I mean, we should have known that, whatever it takes, Nikola is going to find a way to go up. Oh, GAN is up. Oh. Thank goodness.
Oh, OTGLY. I should give people an update on that. That is the gaming company that makes
CD Projekt, something like that.
What's the game? It's
a Cyberpunk
2077.
So
yeah.
So here's what happened, guys. Reviews came out, and remember we were talking about the over/under on that kind of being 90. Reviews came out, and the reviews are 91. So it's like right there in the middle. So as soon as I saw that, I sold 2/3 of my shares. It's not like I'm going to short the stock. I kept a little bit, but I don't know. I have a little bit of stock that I kept, but I sold 2/3 of my CD Projekt Cyberpunk 2077 stock. I mean, I plan to get out of it. I'll be out of that stock here in the next week or two entirely. I did keep a small amount because I do think there's still an opportunity for those China numbers to be better than expected. That was part of our social arb thesis. So I'll hang in there for the announcement of how many pre-sales they actually generated. I think that comes out in about a week and a half. But I'm not super pumped about that trade at this point based on that 91 number, a Metacritic number of 91. It's just like, that's good, but it's not like there's so much hype. I needed to see something in the mid 90s to kind of keep my stock.
Yeah.
So my Kodak short, it's very small and it's not going well. People are asking.
Yeah, Kodak was up like 1,000% the other day. Not really.
Yeah,
but
basically the government, or they came out and said that there was nothing wrong with the loan.
Yeah,
Look at that.
I don't have the time to deal with this, guys. I'm just going to cover the short right now.
Yeah,
it's trending back down. Unless you think some even better news for Kodak is coming out, like they've banned all digital photography or something in the future.
Well, I
not
don't,
a digital. Oh yeah.
Listen, I was in this. My trade thesis was Biden is bad for Kodak, and there's no one to save Kodak. But hey, they got the good ruling. Good for them. I don't know where they go from here. This company has not been able to pull off anything that they've tried the last 20 years. So I see no reason.
I've heard they released some film canisters, some consumer film canisters. So those might be flying off the shelf sometime soon.
Wait, what are they?
Yeah, they created these little 5-pack film canisters for like old school film.
And
You
how
can
do
buy
you
that.
use?
And
You
they're
have to have an
flying off
old
the
school
shelves
camera?
because
Yeah, if you have a film camera, or if you have something else you want to keep in a film canister, then you could buy that.
Wait, could you not buy those before?
Not Kodak branded.
why would
Hey,
you
hold up.
care?
Can you find them?
No, I was actually checking to see where my laptop is. It's in transit. Check back tomorrow for an updated delivery date. What?
It's very un-Apple. Oh, it's UPS.
No, that's UPS.
Yeah.
Apple knows exactly where it is.
All right, guys.
Wait, I'm searching for Kodak film canister.
No, I'm dead serious. I think they came out with these.
I don't understand.
Well, I mean,
that. It's like a
Polaroid
weird-
comes out with some vintage-looking
yeah,
film
I
stock
don't
from
get
time to time that people
Yeah.
buy.
Guys,
Okay,
what
well,
do we
this is
have
just a Google
tomorrow? I think
search.
we had something pretty good tomorrow. What's tomorrow's episode, Dave?
Tomorrow, did I put it on my calendar? Let's see. I have not made a
Yeah, I
thumbnail
know
yet, if that matters.
Oh, Airbnb.
Oh, yes, because doesn't Airbnb go public on Thursday?
Yeah, and I'm getting anxiety. Like I really, really want to get in on this IPO. I want to get in on the actual IPO though. I'm calling TD Ameritrade. Should I call my guy right now? We'll just do
Yeah,
it right.
we should do it live.
Let's just do it live. And let me see
If you
I
guys
can
get bored watching this, it's cool.
Let me see if I can get any shares. Who thinks I'm going to be able to get shares here? Let's see what he says.
We should do a Twitter poll.
I'm gonna say no.
I'll put him on speaker in a minute.
I'm trying to buy some Kodak film, but apparently all I can buy is a Kodak keychain. Oh, here's some
that sounds
Kodak
fun.
film from a photo store. They probably have it. So I can buy some 200 ISO film.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? I have you here
$5.
with my two buddies. We're just talking about Airbnb, and I figured I'd give you a call. They're listening in to you as well. Is there any? There's no shares for like, your favorite clients like me, right?
No.
You got.
We're not. I wish that was the case. Like you could wait till it opens on the open market and buy it, but we're not we would need to participate in the IPO for that to happen.
You're not in on this one. You're not getting any shares.
We're not. No, unfortunately, right now there's not a lot of IPOs that we're participating on. Mainly due to the fact that there's an ongoing dispute in conjunction with Schwab against Goldman Sachs with regards to, it stems back a couple years and it's in litigation. It stems to, about allocations from IPOs. So in order for us to get, and that's who we worked with to be, to get partake in IPOs because, IPOs, an investment bank, the underwriter is going to be the one that, gets the IPO, right? So like if, Barclays, you're at Barclays and they're underwriting an IPO, you get that there, you'll get it. But like with like a retail broker, they have to have like an agreement with.
Yeah, I know. I knew you guys used to get some of that stuff in the past. I was just curious if you.
We did, and there was, significant, there were IPOs that we got, and then, but starting a couple years ago with that litigation that's ongoing in conjunction with Schwab against Goldman Sachs, it's
tough.
Our IPO offerings have been thin.
Okay.
To say the least.
Well, listen, no problem. I thought I would check in. I got a hop. By the way, I did send that information from my foundation's account. So I'm gonna send in one more attachment right now with the corporate paperwork, so you have it.
Correct. Because I looked and I grabbed it under, because I went in there this morning to look to see if you sent it in, and I did get it. I just didn't get like the, the papers for the documents for the corporation with it. I got the application.
Gotcha. I'll send that. I'll send that in right now. Thank you so much, Joe. I really, really appreciate it.
Anytime, Chris. Chris.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Bye. All right. So it was worth a try. You never know. But the thing is, if you really want to get in on these IPO shares, you have to pay the toll, right? And the toll is, you can open up an account with Goldman, you can open up an account with Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, and some of the underwriting banks, if they happen to be underwriting the IPO you're going for, and you're a big enough client. I mean, that's the problem, is you have to be pretty large to get shares. If you're with, Morgan Stanley or Goldman, you got to be, I would say, a 9-figure client, probably. Does that make probably a good size 9-figure?
Yeah, depends on how much they have in the thing to whether or not you're going to get any allocation, right? How much of a participant they are in the underwriting.
Yeah. So I really want to get in on that IPO.
I'm in on the IPO.
I have a feeling it's big.
Dave's in.
I keep looking at the price that they think that they're going to. I mean, it looks like 40 billion. That might have been right around what I paid for it.
Do you want to sell right now at 40 billion to me? I'll do a transaction with you right this second. Right now. Because
I think 40 billion is the opening price, and I think Airbnb
41.
has room to go up from there.
41. I'm not joking. I'll give you 41 billion right now.
If you do 50 billion, I might consider it.
Would you?
I might. For a portion of my shares.
What do you guys think?
Not all of it.
You have a reasonable number of shares. I mean, you have 6 figures of
I have 6
shares
figures.
to give, right?
Yeah. I think.
50 billion.
I'll have to double check.
You would consider that?
I'd consider it.
How does that work? Because
how it actually works, it would be very difficult tax-wise, because I would have to pay taxes on all of those shares, and then there's this weird transactional thing that whenever I sell them out of my account, because I can't transfer them to you, so we would just have like a handshake virtual television agreement.
You would have to create a derivative for the transaction, basically.
I mean, technically, we would just have to say we're agreeing to it, and we trust each other enough, and we just we sell the shares whenever we can, and then somehow I have to. I don't really even know. I have to pay taxes on it because it sold out of my account, and then.
I think this thing is going to open up at 60, 65.
You do?
Billion.
You think it's going to open there, even though they've revised it upward, up to 40 billion? Why wouldn't they just start it there?
Robinhood traders. They're not.
That's what I'm excited about, is the Robinhood traders, and it comes a day after. What's the other big IPO that's happening? That's happening tomorrow. Also popular with Robinhood.
Oh.
What is it? I can't remember. I'm not in it, so it's not as exciting to me. Oh, DoorDash. DoorDash, the company that I use like 5 out of 6 days. I use it all the time. DoorDash is my go-to.
Love the company. Not sure I love the trade on DoorDash, but we should talk about that too. Maybe we should talk about both tomorrow.
Let's
Maybe we
talk
should
about
do a
both.
dual. Maybe we should make it like a DoorDash versus Airbnb episode, because I have pretty strong feelings about both that I want to discuss.
I do too.
So, congrats, Dave, on getting in on Airbnb a couple years ago. That was a really good move, man. I wish I would have done it.
We have an episode where we talk about that on the original channel. You can see the exact reason.
I had reasons for not getting in, and I'm actually not. I don't have any FOMO on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
if you're curious, you can go back and watch an episode. I think it is titled, or the thumbnail says, "Investing in Pre-IPO Companies," and we have a conversation in Chris's car on the way to lunch. And I think we talk about it at lunch too. It's a good episode.
Yeah, I'm upset now. I want to be. I feel like I got FOMO going on this week. I really do.
By lunch, we mean barbecue.
Yeah. Speaking
that sounds good for today. DoorDash, by the way, do you know I can get Pecan Lodge? There's several barbecue places that you can have DoorDash delivered.
I have a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich waiting for me downstairs right now. So
how are you still on the show? How have you not just abandoned, just like empty screen in the middle?
Hey, Chris, did you get that wire, by the way?
Oh, I did not check yet. Sorry.
Is there a wire in
it? I just need to double check to make sure that they send it to the right account. I don't want to, I don't want the money to go missing.
We do all of our
Yeah, I know.
all of our meetings just live on YouTube.
I don't. Oh, here. Let's see, Jordan. Ticker tags, right? Oh, yep, it's there.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm glad you did that too, because I needed to fund that because our healthcare premiums were not going to get paid.
Yeah.
This month. That's good. We're good for a few months.
In the chat, people are asking if you use DoorDash at your restaurant, Chris, and I wish you did because it would be more top of mind for me to order it.
I'm going to save this conversation for tomorrow. Short answer is
way to tease.
No. Tomorrow we will kind of discuss the full range of restaurant options, how we feel as restaurant owners, those of us that are using these services right now, whether we are likely to continue using them post-pandemic, what I think post-pandemic life looks like for Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub and all these guys. I do have some strong opinions. I can't wait to talk about them.
I do too. As a user, a heavy user of both DoorDash and Uber Eats, and a light user of Chow Now and the other alternative DoorDash type services. Caviar was bought by DoorDash.
Yeah. Well,
we have a lot to talk about tomorrow, and we're going to do that
tomorrow.
Thank you guys for watching We're Dumb Money. We will see you then.